Welcome back to Elliotts Pages. I'm your host, Elliott Page, and today I'm on episode 2 of my entrepreneurship UGC series, and I'm with Julie Grog. I wanted to make sure your last name is pronounced Grog, right?
It's actually Krog.
Krog. I was
Yeah.
literally going to ask you that before too, just to like not butcher your name, but it's fine because it's totally on brand for
Literally,
me to butcher a
literally
name.
everyone
So
calls me Krog. So
I could see that.
yeah,
Krog, Julie Krog.
Krog. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm here with Julie Krog. We're gonna take it over to her. She's basically gonna introduce herself, tell us a little bit about what she does. She's a mom, so she's gonna be over there momming, but it's fine. Yeah, it'll just go over to her.
Okay. So my name's Julie. I'm a UGC creator from Vancouver, Canada. Mom of 2, and I specialize in creating ads for brands and essentially, I guess, personal branding because I don't pitch. So
Mhm.
that's kind of my thing.
Julie has not pitched, and she has worked with like crazy companies, so it's insane that she's never pitched before. I myself, I've pitched and I've not pitched, but to meet somebody in the UGC space, content creator space, that's never pitched, like literally never, is crazy. I know that it's just like, it's not really, a lot of us pitch even still to just get PR and stuff, but I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I guess my questions for you, like just starting out, will be when did you start UGC? Why did you start it? And like, where did it kind of take off from? And like, how's it going?
First off, I have pitched 2 times. 2 times very recently, just brands I wanted to work with. So like, I was just,
Yeah.
they weren't reaching out to me, so I reached out to them. But I actually started in January of 2023. Like my mat leave was ending. I was going to be basically working for free after paying for childcare for 2 kids. And that's if I worked full time. Nobody ever got sick. You know, UGC started coming across my FYP on TikTok like just before Christmas. And then I was like, what is this? Like, this sounds really cool. I'm a creative person. So, and the fact that people were saying you don't need any money to start was like a huge draw. So I literally like January 1st just dove in so hard, no experience. I didn't even know how to send a Google Drive. I'm almost 40. I'm not the most technical person in the entire world, but I just dove in so hard. And then I saw someone on TikTok actually talking about Twitter, and they were like, go on Twitter. I got a job from Twitter or whatever. And I was like, okay. So I literally like went to Twitter and saw like all the opportunities and then just like never left. Like that's where I put all of my energy, like into figuring out Twitter, what to post, how to attract brands, while also like building my skills. And it's gone really great. Like I'm not someone who makes $100,000 a year, but if I was working full time and paying for daycare, we'd be putting less than $1,000 a month in our pocket. So any month I make more than that, I am
Right.
winning. I'm winning.
Mhm.
And, I've definitely had some really high months, but after the high months, you need a rest with 2 kids. So it's
Yeah.
usually really big month, then a somewhat slow month.
No, yeah. And I actually think that's such a good way to, like, a good thing to notice because in our career, there's a lot of, as you would assume, there's a lot of social media. There's a lot of comparison. There's a lot of, oh, look what she's making, look what I'm not making. But there's such like a realistic standpoint to just be able to be like, yeah, you have high months and you have low months, and that's like literally just what it is. It's better to have that expectation than to come into it and just be like, oh, like I only made this much money like this month. But it's like, it's crazy because it's your own business. Like, it's your business. You're making money from your phone. You didn't have any startup costs more than most of the time, unless you bought like a tripod and a light box or like whatever. But it's like so crazy. So yeah, I love that. And I am obsessed with Twitter. More people need to be talking about Twitter.
Yes.
Twitter's insane. I'm like shook I still to this day get deals off Twitter. I still to this day get script reads off Twitter that are like, "Oh, like say this for like $300." And I'm like, "What do you mean? You want me to say a script for $300?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Sure.
Yeah. It's
100%."
I don't think I think people know that Twitter is a really great place to get opportunities. I just don't think people know how to utilize it because it's
Mhm.
different than like Instagram and TikTok. And it's kind of like Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn, like all rolled into one. Like you can
Yeah.
post whatever you want. And it's a really great place to like show your personality,
Mhm.
um, more obviously your skills, but it's a really good place to connect with people and connect with your clients, especially if you're working with agencies. Like some of my best repeat clients is like one guy is an agency owner and I've worked with
Mhm.
him like I don't even know 13 or 14 times and like he's
That's
always
awesome.
commenting on my stuff and I'm commenting on his stuff and we have like a really good relationship like that's more than just I create content for him.
Mhm. Which is super important, and I wanna hit on that actually before I get into our next. Okay, so we're gonna get back in. The last thing I wanted to touch on was, yeah, people don't know how to utilize Twitter, and it is. It's like LinkedIn mixed with Instagram because you can post photos, but it's mixed with Facebook because there's like statuses, and it's so interesting, but I love it. And I actually remember I started UGC. When did I even start? I've been doing it for like ever. I always tell people this, but I just didn't know I was doing it, and then I was just like not charging. I was just like, sure, I'll do this because I'm like 16, so I don't need money. But like, I
You know
totally should have been.
how many people have told me that that's how they started? They're
Yeah,
like, I was doing it before it was called UGC and I didn't even know. Like,
no,
so many
I had
people.
no idea.
Yeah.
And what's crazy too is back then I had bomb brands reaching out to me just because like they weren't utilizing UGC. No one knew what it was. Like Living Proof would send me stuff all the time from like Sephora. And I was like, why? Why are you doing that? And I never really understood why, but now I'm like, oh my gosh, I do know why. So it's crazy. But then I was like, okay, I've been doing this for years. I'm 21. I'm a model. That's what I was doing. I have no money. I've spent all my money modeling. I'm so poor. Like, let me not even get into that. So poor. How can I make money? I was working like three different jobs. I was working at Buffalo Wild Wings, I was working at Starbucks, and I was working at a fine dining restaurant just to like pay for my rent. Like, literally. And it was insane. Yeah. And then half the time I wasn't even working because I was traveling for modeling. So I would just like come back to all of those jobs like every 2 weeks. Luckily, my bosses all hated me. They were like, "You're always gone. Like, why are you even working?" And I would just be like, "Well, because I need money when I'm here.
Yeah.
Like, can't you be nice to me?" But so weird. Such a weird situation. And then I heard of Twitter and I was like, "Okay, cool. I'm getting on this." First deal right off the bat, like 2 days into Twitter, I think it was $2,000 for 30 videos.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay, that sucked." 100%, but now I'm $2,000 up. Like,
Yeah.
I'm $2,000 up. So, like, we're going somewhere, and then as you begin to utilize Twitter more and more, you, like, figure out, like, what you don't wanna take, what you can't take, what you shouldn't take, what agencies are, of course, taking advantage of us, and so on and so forth. So,
Sign up for their newsletters.
the newsletters have gotten crazy.
Yeah. I am at the point now where people say they're looking for UGC creators and they say like, "Oh, here's the link, sign up for my newsletter." I'm like, "My base rate is X amount of dollars. Do you have any brands on there?" And
Mhm.
usually I never hear back. So like
No,
it's usually like very low paying, $30, $50, which is a good place to start if you're brand new,
100%.
obviously, but
Yeah.
like we are way past that.
Mhm. Yeah, and it sucks too, because like when you do get into a position like kind of where I was in, where it's like I've done this for so long and I've never gotten paid. You didn't know to get case studies. You didn't know to save your content. You didn't know to like remember the brands you worked with. Some of these people I just thought they were gifting, so I never even made content for them. Like I didn't know what I was doing. So it's like you get into this position too where it's like even though I'm not a beginner, technically, I still had to take these low paying jobs to begin getting paid to get those case studies. And that's like a hard thing because in this job, sometimes you have to put your pride to a side and be like, is this worth my business, my income from maybe my family or for rent or for whatever? Or do I need to tell them like my rate starts at this? So I wanted to also get into that because I know that your rates are higher than mine. Um, and rightfully so. Totally, like that's always up to every creator, but I wanted to talk with you like what was the turning point for you where you were like, I can charge this. This is how I'm going to go about stating it. This is what I say. This is like a done deal.
So it actually took me a really long time to feel like I actually could have even a price, not even necessarily like a set price. You know what I mean? Like I did a lot of gifted collabs because I had zero experience. And then I still, like, when I wanted to charge, was like, I don't feel comfortable charging $150 because like I felt that I sucked so bad.
Right.
And
Mhm.
looking back, you're like, yeah, yeah, you did suck. But
Sometimes.
whether you suck or not, like, especially when it's like organic content, or, like, or whatever, like, okay, if they're putting money behind it, like, you need it to be good, right? Like, but if it's organic content, like, they're using your face, your likeness, whatever. So, like, you still should be charging for that. Like, it's not just about the time that it takes to create the content. It's your face is living on this brand's social media,
Yeah.
right? So once I started having clients come back is when I was like, okay, I think I'm doing something right. I'm on the right track. And then I just started upping it a little bit, like kind of testing the waters.
Hmm.
And and then I had a brand that I literally was like $700 one video, and they were like, okay. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And like that's not my base rate. Like that was for
No.
like perpetual usage rights or whatever, right? So like
Hmm.
I don't charge that much per video. But I was like, oh my God. And then it went really well. And then they came back and offered me a retainer and then another retainer. And so I've just kept inching up and people are paying it. You know what I mean? Like, I just, that's the way it goes. And now I have like some really great brands that come back and some really good case studies. Like, I need to update my portfolio because I have some more that I've been working really
Same.
hard to get. But yeah, it's case studies. Like, once you get the skills and you feel confident, in my opinion, is something that should be top of everybody's list.
Hmm. Yeah, 1,000%. I'm glad you touched on that. It's crazy. Yeah, I'm like in the median price range right now. Like I know that I could up my prices. I know that so much, but I've gotten into like a little issue with brands not giving me case studies. And so I'm like, I know my videos convert. They're still on like Meta. Like I have ads that are still on Meta to this day. Like if you look up the brand's name, like there's my ad. It's still running. It's been running for months. So it's like, and I will email them and email them. But the thing is like so many of them are small brands. So I feel like they don't even know what UGC is. So they're like, why are you emailing us? Like we're still running your ad. And I'm like, I know. I want to know how it's done. But
It's
like,
it's one of those things that I have actually posted like analytics from a brand and had like top people that people would consider top leaders in the industry message
mhm,
me that are working for the same brand and being like, how did you get that? Because
yeah,
it's not something people know how to get. And it's actually really easy once you know how to do it, but people just don't know how to do it. And you have to discuss beforehand. Like you just have to discuss it
yeah.
beforehand. You've already sent the video and you see it's, maybe it shows up on your Facebook or your Instagram and you see it's doing well, or maybe they've been running it for a couple months, you see it in the ads library or something.
Hmm.
Going back to them and asking for the analytics, like typically is not going to work because that's extra work for them and they're not going to do
Hmm.
it unless you make it a benefit for them.
1,000%. Yeah, and even then it's still hard. Like I think okay, so there's like two key takeaways for this that I see. One, yes, talk about it beforehand 1000%. But two, sometimes that's not going to work in the UGC space, even when you're working with some of these brands that either don't know what UGC is, they don't know the benefit of the analytics for you, or maybe they're just not a good brand. Meaning like as far as brand communication, um, brand client content creator relationship. Like I've worked with so many small brands that just like at the end of the day, they didn't want to create a relationship with me because they don't understand the value in that yet. And that's okay. Like maybe months from now, they'll come back and be like, oh, she actually was good. Now that I've had A, B, C, D, E come to me with content that was horrible. So it's like sometimes it takes a while for a brand to even notice, like, oh, that was good content. Because a lot of people sometimes just think like, yeah, she filmed like the B-roll of the coffee and she edited it together with this recipe and then she sipped it in a cute outfit. And it's like, did you hear my voiceover? Because that was actually like sales philosophy.
Yeah.
Like that was actually optimized. So you made sales. So
Yeah. I mean, organic is just so much different than ads, right? Like, and it's something that really needs to be studied if you want
mhm.
to do well. And obviously that's where my main focus is, because ads you can charge more, and because I have two little kids, I'm definitely a make more work less. That's how I operate my business. And
Yeah.
yeah, I actually have like, I guess like four scenarios that I so far have had 100% success rate getting analytics from my clients,
That's
because
amazing.
I don't ask everybody. I
Right.
if it's a cool product and they like, I just did like this really aesthetic like electric toothbrush, and they had a really low budget, but it was a really like nice like you know what I mean? Like I hadn't like
Mhm.
really seen something like it before, and I was like, I feel like this is going to make a really good video. So like I went way below my rates, and then I even like gave them like a couple extra hooks, because I'm like, let's give this a real chance here to like get some good numbers. Good numbers for them is good numbers for me. And I just said, hey, like I will accept that rate, because they were not willing to negotiate. So I
Yeah.
said, hey, I'll actually accept that rate at the lower cost if you can provide me with the analytics once it's done running. And they were like 100%. And yeah, it's just you have to gauge it, right? If it's not like not every product is great, right? Not every product is great. Sometimes brands will send you a script that really is terrible and you can only do your best because they're like, stick to the script.
Yeah.
That's not the people that I'm going to be asking for analytics.
Yeah, 1000%. I did a lash growth video for a lash serum. And I think because of my voice, like as you can tell, I feel like it's pretty monotone sometimes. And I don't know where that comes from because I was in theater. So I don't know where that comes from. But this brand wanted me to read like a 2-minute script of like scientific terminology. And I was like, why? And then I like listened to it and I was like, this is so boring. Like my voice is so horrible. Like nobody ever like I don't want to be correlated with this like at all. Which I'm not because it was all B-roll over my voice anyways, but it's fine. But yeah, that's so good. You definitely should ask beforehand. That's something that I've gotten into habit with. Like some brands have said no beforehand. They've said like we can't give you that. But I realized within my contract it's because I stated it horribly. So some brands cannot give analytics for like sales because of like financial issues with like their lawyers. But if you ask specifically, can you send me views and click-through rate? And like something that it produced. So like if it did produce sales, like if you can just give me that base number, sometimes that in your contract will they'll be able to say yes to that, but you just have to word it correctly. That's something I've noticed.
I don't necessarily have anything in my contract, just when I ask for it, because I use the contracts like 90% of the time. So
Mhm.
I just say, once we've come to like an agreement, make sure you put that in the contract. But like, I've definitely had brands that are like, we can't give you the money
Mhm.
part, but they're totally happy to give you, thumb stop, CTR, or, and that sort of stuff. So
Yeah.
it's still something. You can still make a case study out of that,
A
you know, like,
1000%. So
yeah,
much, so many things can be case studies. That's what I've also noticed.
yeah,
Like, I remember I was going to talk about this earlier when we were talking about organic content too, because like organic content was so hard for me to like get the idea of. I don't know why. I think it's because when I switched from doing this for free to switching it to I'm getting paid for this, I started overthinking the process of my content. And my paid ads did great, but my organic content sounded like a robot. And it was actually Mike and Nick who told me, like, I would never, ever.
it's good.
You're okay. It's fine.
Toddler life.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine. I'm like not ready for that, but
This is
I
why
actually want to be a mom so quick. So I'm like, yeah,
I never get anything done summer because I'm like, this is going to be a nightmare.
that's okay.
All right, let's go.
But okay, so what was I saying? Oh, when I first did my organic content, when I was doing like it was actually for motion, and I told this story last podcast episode, but they were like, yeah, like we want organic content. Okay, well, I obviously didn't know what that meant because it was so bad. Like they were great videos and they were very like heavily edited, like super cool transitions, like to put a lot of work into them. They were great if they were not looking for organic content because Mike and Nick were like, these sound like a full-blown commercial, like full-blown commercial. So yeah, understanding organic content is super important in this industry because it's definitely going to make your content stand out when you do have that personal branding aspect and you do have like a light under you that people notice, especially in the UGC space when all of us start noticing like, oh, this is your content targeted by this person's ad, blah 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 blah. Like we're the ones that are going to react with that video. So it's like you wanna build that personal brand.
It's like, I think back to when I first started last year, and I can't remember who it was, but it was one person on TikTok that was like a UGC creator and was like, if you're new, you shouldn't be pitching. Like, build your personal brand. In a year, you're gonna thank yourself. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, because everyone else was like, pitch, 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 pitch. And then I was like, I don't
No.
have time for this. Like, it's so much work. Like, if you, to get the email, find the email to get it to the right person, like, it's so much more than just like Instagram DMs. And that only works if you already have an Instagram following. Like, I have 200 followers on Instagram because I literally ignore it so bad. But like,
Yeah.
when I message people on Instagram, when I was brand new and had like 8 followers, like, no, nobody ever
No.
answered. And then to find the email of somebody that's going to, the decision makers for like, marketing, social media marketing is
Yeah.
actually a ton of work. Then you have to research the brand, craft the pitch, follow up like 1,000 times. Like that's too much work for me
Yeah.
when I was new.
That's something I wish somebody would have told me because when I was new and starting to get paid, I spent way too much time pitching when I should have spent more time understanding
Yeah.
what I could have done to perfect my craft and be a better UGC creator because that would have now I'm making, triple what I was making. And it's like that's because I decided to slow down in my business, understand what I was doing wrong, watch YouTube videos, watch other creators, go to networking events, go to Toronto, whatever it was. But I was like, I know something needs to change for me to make this like a salary paying job.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's, if you're focusing all your energy on pitching, you have no time to grow your
no.
skills. And okay,
Mm-mm.
so maybe you pitch to 100 brands and maybe 10 say yes, right? Like I don't know. I know the pitching when you have like not the analytics to back it up,
Yeah.
it's
I was
gonna
gonna
be
say I'm like my ratio's not that bad, but it would suck if somebody's is like that's a
like
lot of wasted
for you,
time.
right? If you're
Yeah.
new, you don't know if you're sending it to the right person. Your pitch just says, "Hi, I'm a UGC creator." Like you're not gonna get responses.
No.
So it's, and if you're so busy doing that, you don't have time. Like there's so much you got to learn hooks, and if you have no idea how to edit, you got to learn how to edit. You got to learn direct response marketing. Like you need to do a deep dive, and if you're
Yeah.
just pitching, you have no time for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 1,000%.
Yep.
I was gonna ask you a next question. I need to remember what it was. Fave, least fave. Uh, I didn't write it down. I normally write down all my questions while I'm filming, but I was like not doing that.
Is it like mom stuff, Twitter stuff?
Dang it. No. But I guess we can move on. No, it's okay. So I guess we'll just start talking about like what's your favorite thing about UGC? What's your least favorite thing? And how do you like manage that to like still not only focus on like the best parts, but still keep making it a business?
My favorite thing about UGC is the flexibility. So my friend Anna at A Plus Socials, she always says she's a mom with her kids are like just a little bit younger than mine. She always says UGC is time flexibility, not time freedom. So you're still exchanging that time for money, but you're not stuck to do it at a certain day at a certain time. It's not like you have to clock in and do these hours this day. Like if I want to, if I have to chaperone my kids' field trip or if one of them are sick, like I can move that stuff around and I don't have to phone my boss and be like, hey, the kids are sick again, like, yes, I've had to obviously ask for extensions, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. And people are usually pretty understanding about it. I always let my clients know that I have kids and, stuff happens. But like my least favorite part about it, I don't even really, I don't know, is sometimes things just get so backed up and you have to put in a 12-hour day to catch up.
Yeah.
It happens. Or like I've definitely, I always tell people when they start, because I get a lot of moms that reach out to me on Twitter and social media and stuff that want to know like how to be successful doing this. And I'm like, they see online everything's, oh, you can make a couple $1,000s in a few months. And no, that's not reality for most people. And I always say, like, if you're a mom or you have zero experience, your first year is gonna suck. It's gonna be awful. And it's really hard to the hardest part is to push through those times when you're like, I just want to crawl in bed. I do not want to film today. I don't feel like it. Maybe I didn't sleep. Maybe I don't feel well. Like, it's your business. It's on you to get it done. You can't just like call up your boss and be like, I'm not coming in today, like you eventually have to catch up on that work that you put off. So it's the flexibility is great, but then sometimes you just have this pile up and you're not feeling it. I know, like, we always talk in our chat group, like you, Sarah, and Anna Casey about this, like, not feeling it today, guys, gotta push through. That's
the way that it's like 4 days out of the 7 days of the week. Oh my gosh, we gotta get a grip.
But it's hard, right? You can't just put it on somebody else like you could at a job, and you have to be reliable. You can't, yes, you can ask for extensions. It happens. I've definitely had to ask for extensions before. But you can't do that all the time. Like, if you have repeat clients and you're asking them for extensions all the time, like, that's not gonna work.
No.
They're not gonna.
I remember when because I texted you because I knew you had worked with Mark before.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just had to ask Mark for an extension. I was like devastated. I was like, he's never going to want to work with me again. But I was like literally moving across the country. Like, what do you expect me to do? You know what I mean? Like, my couch was in the middle of the living room. I had stuff in boxes. I had stuff like everywhere. There was no way I could have filmed for that. And it just like wasn't like, you have to ask for extensions. But at the end of the day,
he was so nice about it, wasn't he?
Oh, he was so nice about it. He was like,
yeah, the best.
Afterwards, he gave me a testimonial that was like a paragraph long. I was like, shut up. Yeah.
He's agency. I always say people who run agencies need to take note of him, because like, he's the client that I've worked with like 14 times, and he doesn't pay what I would charge for what they ask for.
Yeah.
But this guy has thrown a lot of work my way. I've worked with him for over a year. And he's so nice. He's so understanding of like, if you have kids, you're like, hey, my kids are really sick. Like, I'm not going to meet this deadline. Like, they're going to be down for like 3 days. It's not a problem. I'll extend it. No big deal. But he's so nice. And you're not the only person who's reached out to me about him being like, I have to ask him for an extension. You think he's really
Yes.
I'm like, no, he's not going
It's
to be.
because he does have good clients. He has good brands, which is one, not always the case for agencies. So it's super nice to have like an agency that has, you know, good brands, has a good rep, has a good face of their agency being Mark, because that's not always the case. Like, I unfortunately just worked with a brand, not going to say names, of course, where I was like, this agency makes a good brand look super bad, super bad. And that sucks because that brand is somebody that I've bought myself, somebody that my family have bought, somebody that I'm like, you know, that's a bummer. So I wanted to touch on that too a little bit. But agencies, I think what Mark has, I'm going to tag Mark in this like segment of the video if I post it, because he'll probably be so stoked. But like, um, empathy. Empathy is so big in this business. And I actually just talked to another agency yesterday that was like, they asked for 30 videos. It's a TikTok shop collaboration. And I only agreed to it because of the commission rate for the product. And I have been taking on more TikTok shop collaborations. And I didn't post 2 of the days that I was traveling to Toronto
Because you're in Canada and
because
you
I'm
live
in
in Canada.
literal Canada. Like, I'm sorry. What? And I was so nice to where I was just like, hey, like, just so you know, this day and this day, I probably won't be posting, but I will compensate for those 2 videos that I didn't post this month if they, like, you know, bleed into the next month a little bit, just so you know. But like, I'm at a creators event, super excited, can't be on my phone
Which you
in
can't,
Canada.
you
I
can't,
can't
no, you
post
can't
TikTok shop videos.
when you're in Canada.
No.
No.
Yes. And at first she was really nice about it, and then she was like, just so you know, you've only posted 11 videos. And I'm like, I know that. I told you. Why? Like, why are you being so rude? And then the next day she was like, where's your daily video? And it was like 12 p.m. And I was like, well, I just haven't posted it yet. Like, you're pissing me off because you're rude and you're not being empathetic towards the fact that I have a life. And she even said, sorry, I took a few days off. And I'm like, oh, so you get to take a few days off, but I don't.
Yep.
Like, that's where I can't. I can't with the agencies. Like,
Yeah.
you need to be a Mark. Everyone be a Mark, because it makes people not want to work with you. The word gets around that the agency's not agencying, and us UGC creators we're not going to fall for that. You won't have any creators to work with you. You won't have
We
anybody to
have
work with
like
you.
a really tight knit, especially on Twitter. I literally have probably 40 creators that if I have a question, I could message. Like my chat
Yeah.
DMs or like private chat on Twitter is crazy. Like I have chats with everybody. Everybody wants to,
Mm-hmm.
I ask them questions. Like they ask me questions. Like I have friends that I've just like, that's where we chat, or maybe we're working with the same brand, whatever. Like on Twitter, we all talk. And
Mm-hmm.
like Mark, who has what I would charge for what they ask for is more than double what he pays, but I will
Yeah.
always work for him because
Mm-hmm.
it is just such a good experience.
It's
And
easy.
it's so easy and he's just so nice.
Yeah.
And you don't get that. Like I literally just had to drop a client because they were telling me that like 48 hours was the average turnaround and they can't give me more than that. And I'm just like, I'm a mom with kids and you want my partner in the video who also has a life and a job. You cannot say 48 hours is normal. So I just like
No,
dropped them. I'm just like, I can't do this. Like, this is not,
that's
yes, I know.
That's a big one, because Gerardo, he's been in my videos before, literally is a full-time college soccer coach. So he has lifting, he has conditioning, he has practice, he has games, and he has tournaments. And then on top of that, he was a part-time construction worker in the heat.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you want him in my videos, the fact that he's even saying yes to me is crazy. Love him. So nice. And then the fact that you're not even charging for his face to be in my video, not okay. Also, I had a company like want him because he's Hispanic, and it was like a biracial ad. And I'm
Yep.
like, then you need to pay. Pay because he's Mexican
Yeah.
then. Like, you Like you're literally asking for him. And like I dropped him because I was like, no, you're not going to use my boyfriend's cute face
Yeah.
in your stuff and not pay him. Like, no.
But literally,
So
if Mark was like, "Hey, do you have a partner to be in this?" I'd be
seriously,
like, "Gotcha, buddy. No problem."
yes, because it's how they ask
Yep.
and it's how they conversate it, which goes back to like our first kind of topic too, where it's like how you ask for the analytics, who you are as a person, you are as a creator, and how you speak to these brands will get you so far. And I
So
think a lot of creators forget that you're not just talking to a brand, you're talking to a person. You're talking to a person who is representing the brand. So be nice
yeah,
and have empathy and be respectful because that's your business. That's your face.
and there's nothing wrong with setting boundaries and limits and
No,
being firm. Like I have
1000%.
like some hard boundaries that I set with my clients. Like if they email me at 2 in the morning and start like rage emailing me, be like, "Why are you answering, Julie? Are you?" I will drop you. I'm not doing that. Bye. Sorry. I I
No.
just it goes both ways, right? Like
Yeah.
you
Goes both
have to
ways.
understand that people who work from home, yes, they're home, but we don't work 24/7 and we have a
Mm.
life, we have families, crap happens. You have to be flexible and nice. Like I have clients that I've wanted to curse out.
Yeah.
Instead, I take it to my UGC friends in our little chat group and I
Hmm.
say this brand, this person is really pissing me off.
Yeah.
I don't put that on them.
No.
No.
No, 1000%. It's so true. It goes both ways and like stuff does happen. And sometimes I even understand like these marketing representatives, these professionals in that realm have so many emails. Sometimes I'm sure they don't even mean to come off how they do, but it's like at the end of the day, you have to be careful with that both ways because I had a brand say something with a huge makeup brand. And she came back to me with just such like a disrespectful tone about one of the products being smudged, like it had a thumbprint on it, and she was so rude about it, and I was just like, "Well, I used it." You know what I mean? Like, I used the makeup product.
Yeah.
Like, "Do you want me to put Windex on it?" I can, and I ended up having to, but it was just like, there's just a way, and I even told her, I said, "I think there's, like, a way that you could have nicer, like, stated that." I was like, "I just want you to know, like, I, of course, will fix anything, and, like, I offered you revisions, so you will get them, but, like, let's not talk to people that way.
Yeah.
Sorry."
There's no reason for it. I don't have time.
No.
I don't have time for
I
that kind of
no.
BS and stress in my life.
No.
Like I'm gonna, I always tell people, like, especially like from the UGC side, like you can recover from bad content. You can never recover from a bad attitude.
No.
Never. Like
Mm-mm.
never. I always tell people, be the person that when they think like, "Oh, we have a tight turnaround," or we need an extra hook but we can't pay for it. Be the person that they think of when they're like, "Oh, we're in a tight spot. Who are we going to call?" Be that person.
1,000%. Yeah,
Right?
and I've, like, really had to get better at that because I am, like, the person that I always have set boundaries in my life. I've always been the one that's just like, "Oh, you're gonna do that as a friend? No. You're gonna do that as a boyfriend? No." Like, like, I'm very strict within, like, the people that I let into my community and let, like, influence me and my decisions. And so, like, yeah, I there was only one time it happened with an agency where I was like, I really feel bad because I was not trying to be mean. I just like, you weren't paying me. You didn't pay me and you were stealing content from me. Like
I mean,
rounds and rounds of content.
it's probably
And
okay
it's
to be a little
so valid. It's so
situation.
valid, but I still was like, I hope they don't tell anybody. Like, I just like, I'm sorry, but like you were literally taking advantage of me. But
It's it's okay at that point to not be nice.
I'm like seeking validation here. I'm like, please tell me it's okay. But no, yeah. But moving on from that, one of my last-ish points was basic. Actually, I have two more points after this. So the one was going to trace back to just like all of what we just said and targeting you especially. What do you think that you've done to receive these inbounds? Like what what did you post? Like how like if somebody was starting brand new, what would you say like
Like
this is what I on anything. Like, where do you think your inbound started to come from? Because since that is such a big thing for us UGC creators, like you've gotten Udi to email you,
yeah,
haven't you?
they were actually one of the brands that I pitched though. They
Okay,
were.
still. But like you've
Yes.
worked with Dove, haven't you? Like you've
No,
just
I
worked
haven't
with
worked with Dove. But I did work. We just worked with Play-Doh.
oh, that was a good one. And YoPlay.
Yeah, but that didn't come from inbound. So those came Monopoly Go and YoPlay, which YoPlay is like the biggest brand I've ever worked for.
So
They
big.
came from bidsy.co. So if there's any creators listening in the UK, tons of UGC opportunities
Oh my
for
gosh.
UK creators, some for US, little smidge for Canadians, but yeah, it was actually that even though it wasn't an inbound through Twitter, it was actually a connection with a male UGC creator on Twitter who is on there because he's in the UK and he saw that they were looking for Canadians in my age range. So he was the one that was like, hey girl, get your ass over to Vidsy and apply to this. It's for YoPlay. And I did, and I got it. And I was like,
It's
no.
insane.
So even
Yeah.
though it still came from a Twitter connection, but the biggest thing I can say is like I do get some from TikTok. Not a whole lot, but my highest paying per video I got from TikTok. Yeah, so most of my inbounds come from Twitter, but there's also tons of UGC opportunities on Twitter. So it's not solely inbounds, and I don't count applying to opportunities on Twitter. Thank you, my darling, but I'm almost done, okay? I don't count applying to UGC opportunities on Twitter as pitching because you're just kind of like it's like applying to an application, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, tons of inbounds from Twitter, and I try to post 3 to 5 times a day, and people are always like, "How do you come up with the ideas of what to post?" Well, if you post your daily to-do list, I always try to include some UGC, some personal stuff, because you never know who's watching, right? Like I've definitely had people be like, "Hey, you have a dog, right?" And I'm like, yep, because I always put my workout, and I always put dog walk, and maybe I'm filming or trying to sign some contracts or whatever. That's one. UGC example every day. That's 2 right there. Then I actually have like I don't know if I want to say it. It's my biggest trick. If you're short on time and you don't know what to post, I will actually use ChatGPT. And I will put in a prompt and say, write me a Twitter post about how important it is to learn hooks or something. Or even if it's, what did I just post the other day? Oh, about how not everyone can do UGC. Like everyone can do it, but not everyone can be successful. I literally just like put a prompt into ChatGPT and was like, write me a Twitter post. So like,
no, yeah. ChatGPT is a resource. We have to use it.
Yep.
Seriously.
Yep.
Like, I don't think it's building up. You can't, I wouldn't build a business off ChatGPT, but you can of course use it. I love that. That's so great. That's good to know. I love to post on Twitter, but I don't post my examples. Actually, that's something that I think is so weird that I even am successful in this business. Because when I tell you I've posted like 6 UGC examples in my life.
What?
Julie, I know. Okay, I know. I don't know what it is. I just don't think about it.
You need to make a challenge for yourself in August. I want you to post a UGC example every single day, Monday to Friday, for the entire month.
Okay, on Twitter or TikTok?
On Twitter.
Okay.
I guarantee that you can. That's cute, but can we not, please? Dylan. Post your examples, do your ads, do your organic. If you have any like say you have any organic examples that have like really good views, like post it and be like, hey, this, even if it's for your own page, like post, some.
Yeah, we can hear it. We can hear the squeak.
Can you? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, post an example every, oh, Jesus. You do need a hug. Okay.
Oh.
I'm almost done, honey. Just a couple more minutes. Yeah, so post an example every single day on Twitter, like Monday to Friday. And then if you have any good like analytics from it, like, hey, this video hit 50,000 views or 100,000 views, post it on Twitter and then come and tell me at the end of August, like if you got increased deals from Twitter.
Okay, fine. I will do it.
Do it.
I'll do it. All right. So I'll let you go be a mom. I have one more question and then you can go. It's going to be just basically where are you headed with all of this? And we all know that UGC is a starting point, not the finish line for all of us. So I want to hear like what do you have in the workbook?
Well, I think you know.
I know.
So I am actually, because it's so hard to film with the kids and whatever, and like you kind of hit this like plateau where it's like you can't, whether just the level of work that you can take on, right? Like to hit like $10,000 months with the limited time I have, I would go mental if I had to do that on an ongoing basis. Like my highest month was like 7K and it almost killed me. Like, that's just from UGC. Yeah, it's a lot of work. And so I actually, like I think I mentioned earlier, like I get a lot of people like on TikTok and Twitter that message me all the time, like about coaching, like, and I help people for free. I've just been doing it for free. They ask me questions, I help them because I really, especially like the people who are in the situation that I was like a year and a half ago, right? Like I reached out to Salha. I don't know if you know Salha on Twitter. She was from the Toronto event. The girl with the
yes. Oh my gosh. I learned that I was pronouncing her name wrong. So when people keep saying her name the correct way, I'm like, that's not what I thought. But okay, yeah. Of course I know her.
Anyways, so I reached out to her asking her questions, like people reached out to me and she helped me. So I just feel like I have to return the favor and whatever. And I'm like, this is taking up a lot of my time. So I am actually launching on July 24th a UGC school, yes, geared specifically for busy women and moms to learn UGC. And it's not like, if you want to go from 0 to 10K as fast as possible, this isn't the place for you. This is going to be about sustainability and being able to integrate the skills and learn the skills into your busy life so that people don't get burnt out. It's the funny thing about social media is people, most people quit UGC, right? They start it and they realize this is actually a lot of work and they quit. And then there's people like me who have a slow story, right? I'm slow and steady, right? I'm going like this instead of like this. And not a lot of people post about that, but the people who post on social media are the ones that are like, I made $100,000 in my first year. I made 7K in my first month. And then people get into it and they think that's what's going to happen. Yeah. And then they quit because they're like, this is a ton of work and a ton of stuff you need to know. So I want to slow it down, break it down, everything UGC, but also like the stuff that other people don't teach, like efficiency tips, time-saving tips, how to cut distractions, how to film with kids, right? All of those things along with everything UGC.
I'm obsessed with it. I think it's going to do so good. I think you are the picture perfect person to start this. I haven't seen anything like it. If it's out there, I haven't seen anything like it. And I am with you. I always try to post the reality of UGC because even me being like, I'm in a distance relationship, I've been traveling, trying to find the right like state to live in. So people are always like, oh, target your location. And I'm like, I'm literally a digital nomad. I don't live anywhere. So like, that's been a stressor on me, not to mention like me and my boyfriend have been together for 5 years, and it's like really hard to have a distance relationship, and it's really hard to manage your relationships already when it's distance, and more importantly, when you're running a business. And it gets hard and you get selfish, and there's so many things that you have to just like take into account. Like you have to be there for your family. This is not your life. This is not your life. This is your business. And those are two different things. So I think it's super cool that you're going to do this in a sustainable way and give people hope, to be honest.
Totally. Like, one of the things that I really want to work with people on is setting like your 12-month goal, right? Like, is it to make a couple extra $1,000 so that you can afford to go on vacation? Is it to replace your income? Is it,
Hanging out.
what is the goal, and how can we work towards it in a way that's like not going to leave you like crying in your pantry every day like I was last year? Because the fact that I didn't
Yes.
quit like literally blows my mind, because I hated life so bad last year. It was just a
Yeah.
lot of work, too much work, and yeah, I cried a lot.
I feel you. That's actually where I'm at right now. So it gives me hope. I love it. So that's actually being real.
Yeah.
Hate life, but it's fine. I'm doing it and I'll continue doing it. So
You have to get through the hard parts to,
you do.
and the thing about it is, everyone has the ability to be successful, but not everyone has the drive.
Hmm. Luckily, I got through modeling. So actually, this is quite easier than being told that you're ugly and fat all the time. So it's been better, of course, but
Everything has its hardships, right?
yes, 1,000%. But all right, that's all I have for you today. I'm so thankful that you were able to hop on. It's been a long time coming, but it was so much fun. And yeah, do you have anything else you want to say before I go?
I don't know, just don't give up, because even a couple extra $100, couple extra $1,000 a month, like, can really change your life, especially for your family. Like, daycare is expensive, and you could be at home with your kids and make money.
1,000%. I love it, Julie. Well, if you guys are watching this for the first time, welcome to my entrepreneurship UGC series. I'm with Julie today. Make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and I will be linking Julie's socials. So if you guys are interested in her school that's launching, and you're a mom and you want sustainability and money, you know where to find her. So thanks everybody so much for listening, and I'll talk to you guys all later. All right. Bye. Bye, Julie.
Bye,